right. We are live. Grand rising, grand evening, Ashe to your day. This is Sean Speaks. We are that. We're going to have a little girl chat tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
We should have bought the wine tonight. Goodness.
I have wine. That is just a step away.
But I want to share a flyer.
And my story.
You about to see my flyer here?
Yes, I can see your flyer.
Because it's best to just start off with the beautiful flyer. And I am Sean Speaks. Y'all know me. I have Joyce Johnson and I have Nettie Jones on this live with me tonight. And we are talking about this upcoming It's Our Time. It's a girls' conference in Paradise, Bahamas. And I want to talk to these ladies about this event. Joyce Johnson is one of the organizers, and Miss Nettie Jones, she is one of the speakers. And there's some other phenomenal speakers that I want y'all to talk to me about, but let's just dive in there. Okay. What is going on October 20th to the 23rd in Paradise, Bahamas? Tell me about this flyer.
You know, we're going to have a women's retreat. I have been wanting to have an annual women's retreat in the Bahamas since 2020. And my plan when I first decided to do these women retreats was just to have it on a different island every year, you know, and if not, just in the Bahamas, right? I love going to the Bahamas. I think it's a great place to relax. They have some of the best spas ever, best shopping too, duty free, mind you. And so, you know, but this year for me, LaShawn, it's the year of the woman. So it's our time. And that's been a theme all year for my company, Y Sales Network. I've been very intentional about networking with women. We've hosted some dinners, bringing women together just to share their stories and help understand their business and how we can love on and support each other. And we also did a breakfast this year. We'll probably have another breakfast right before we leave, or brunch or something of that nature, but just want to bring women together. It's our time to own the spaces that we're in, to be able to grow, support each other, and develop what we call it now upskilling, right? Do some upskilling. And sometimes it's just a matter of sitting around, you know, in the spa and having a conversation. And so we just want to bring some really great conversations to the table and be able to bond women together.
Wow, that is amazing. Now, how long have you been doing these types of retreats?
So we did them virtual for a couple years. We went virtual, but we did a small one in Mexico last year. Mm-hmm. We went to an all-inclusive in Mexico and got everyone matching t-shirts and matching robes for the spa. And we sat in a Roman bath in the spa and chatted it up and things. Wow. Yes, but I've been putting on events for many years. And so this will be the first in-person one, second in-person one if we count Mexico. The second in-person one under the Y Sales Network brand. Okay.
And we're going to get into talking about what the Y Sales Network brand is. But I also want to bring in Nettie into the conversation. Nettie Jones is a licensed psychotherapist. Is that right?
You got it. Yes.
And you are also one of the guest speakers at the event coming up in October.
Yes, I am. And I'm so excited for the opportunity to be among amazing women. You know, LaShawn, my practice is 95% women. I specialize in working with women. So what a great opportunity to get with women and just to talk about our day-to-day victories and sometimes talk about life challenges. So it's going to be an exciting time. And I'm so excited to be a part of it. And Joyce asked me to come, and I feel privileged and honored to do that. And I'm just saying, hey, grab your girlfriends and come to the Bahamas.
Grab your girlfriends and come to the Bahamas. You can use this flyer right now. You can go over to itsourtime.eventbrite.com. And if you use the promo code RetreatLF01, you can get a discount. I plan
$100 off.
Yeah, $100 off. So for the month of August, this is only good for the month of August. And we're going to talk about why it's important for you to take out time in your schedule, budget in an opportunity to go and network with other like-minded females, because Joy said something, she said a word that many of us may not necessarily, we may not have heard, especially if you're not in certain different, in particular markets around a group of people. She said upscaling, right? And I want you to kind of talk about what upscaling is, because as Joy said, it is our time, right? It is the year of the woman. It's the year for us to own the spaces that we're in and upscale those spaces by our own presence. So I want to talk about that. So I'm going to stop sharing the flyer for right now, but we're going to bring it back up. And let's talk about it. First, I do want to upscaling. What exactly is upscaling, and why is it important for females to begin to upscale?
You know, upscaling is just taking it to the next level, right? And sometimes that's taking it higher. Sometimes that's expanding our width, right? In sales, when I was coaching my team, sometimes I'm like, hey, we got to go wide, right? And I had to relate go wide to football because I had a lot of men on my team, right? Supporting me. We got to go wide, right? Okay. And so as women, we have to do that. Some things that men do very well that we don't do as well, right? And that's one is taking care of themselves and doing these trips. If there's a golf trip, they're out of here, right? But we want to, we save our money for the kids, we save for the husbands, we save for the family members, and it's important to do family trips and things like that, but it's also important that we go and we take care of ourselves, and that we sit down and we sit down with other women like ourselves, and we understand, and just have conversation about where we are in life, right? They say you want to ask something, want to know something about a man, ask a man. Well, if you know something about a woman, ask a woman and share with a woman. And it's important that it's just important we have those conversations. So that upscaling is, expanding our reach, having some open and honest conversations, having some time and peace, by ourselves. But really it's about just that development. Nettie's going to talk to us about wellness and sex education, something that, a lot of women are uncomfortable talking about. We talk about it a little bit more at the hair salons these days, but, we need to talk about that. We need to talk about when we feel changes in our bodies, right? Who else are we going to talk to that about if we don't talk to each other?
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. An opportunity to restore, replenish, and renew. Upscale. We invest in bags and shoes. And so this is an opportunity it's the gift that keeps giving. It's the gift of you. And so what better way to do that with like-minded women who want to, upscale or take it to the next level and invest in themselves and get to know themselves a little bit more, to nurture themselves. Self-care. People talk about self-care all the time. And I believe it's self-nurture. And if you self-nurture, self-care just follows. And for some women, this may be the first time that they're able to step out of their comfort zone, grab their girlfriends, and go and not be responsible for anyone else but themselves. And so it's going to be an amazing time.
I love the fact that you said the gift of you, right? Because Joyce also said that sometimes as females, we take care of everybody else. And we're mothers, we take care of the children. If we're spouses, we take care of our spouses. We take care, we handle everything at the job. But somewhere in there, we get lost. We don't give the gift of ourselves to ourselves, right?
You are absolutely right. You are right in my lane. So, this is the deal. The most important relationship you have is the one you have with yourself. And this is the deal. We don't even know who we are. Why? Because we don't sit down and take the time to ask ourselves just simple questions, or even to talk to her. Hey, girl, how you doing today? What's wrong? Why are you feeling like that? What's next? Or we ignore her, And so when we do say something to her being ourselves, right? It's not kind. It's not nice. And so, that relationship you have with yourself shows up in every other relationship you have. So we invest in buying books. We invest in therapy, which therapy is good, but you are the expert on yourself. So you got to get to know yourself. This retreat allows you to take uninterrupted time to do the things that you want to do, to explore yourself. to explore your desires because you deserve them, right? And so this retreat, and hopefully many to follow, gives women permission to continue to do just that, take care of themselves, take it to the next level.
Now,
You're worth it.
you said a lot, girl. I want to unpack that all. You said that you woman are the expert of yourself.
Absolutely. Who
Right.
else knows about you?
No other person know you better than yourself. And if they think they know you better than yourself, there may be a problem, right?
Absolutely.
You have to be the expert of yourself, right? That's part of self-care. It's getting to know yourself, right? Getting to know yourself, getting to know your likes, getting to know your body, right? You know, we got the sex therapist here. We can talk about it, right?
And she's always changing, right? She's always changing. You are not the same woman you were 5 years ago. You know? Okay. So you always have to stay connected.
Say that again. No, say that again. Say that again, Nettie.
You are not the same woman you were 5 years ago.
Now, this is critical, especially in the area of relationships, right? Especially in the area of relationships with your mate, right? Sometimes what happens in marriages, us and women and being married, we lose ourselves in our marriage because first, we're not giving the gift of ourselves to ourselves. We're not the expert of ourselves. And we actually think that marriage provides an answer to who we are.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times what happens is that marriage basically crushes you, crushes your self-esteem, crushes your who you think that you are. You think that you're dependent upon your mate. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with two people having a coexisting relationship and building something together. I'm not knocking that. I'm married. I have no problem with that. But when you lose yourself to the point where you don't know who you are, you know, I'm an attorney by trade. I do a lot of divorces. And one of the common themes that I hear when I talk to females, I used to say females, but men are beginning to kind of do the same thing too. But they have lost themselves. They'll say something like, I've been married for 20 years, but I just don't know who I am anymore. And, you know, and then when I started trying to get to know myself, you know, my husband says, you changed. That's not who I married. And I always say, okay, this is the thing. If you get married 10 years ago and your spouse still wants you to show up in this world as the person that you were 10 years ago, then you might need to question how much longer you want to stay in that marriage, because that is an indication that someone doesn't want you to grow. Our bodies are shedding every day. So I'm going to naturally change, right?
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting. You're absolutely right. I hear that all the time. I lost myself. I don't know what happened to me. And my response is, you are not lost. She is still there. You just have everybody in front of her. You know how when you're driving and you let somebody in front of you and you let somebody in front, you get further and further from where you want to go. And so getting to know yourself means you put yourself first. We have it backwards. You know, and so when we're single, you know, we do all of those things, right? But we get in a relationship or we get married, then it's the spouse. We have children, then it's the children and the job. So, and family. So everybody comes before you. And so it feels like she's lost, but she is there. But you have to start moving people over so that you can see her and you can address her. And then when you address her, everybody that falls behind along the side benefits from that. So, you know, we're not lost. We just don't pay attention to ourselves anymore.
But Nettie, how do you get a female to be able to see that when she starts to focus on herself, that it's not quote unquote selfish in that negative way, you know, we like to use the word, and that others, your loved ones around you, actually benefit from that self-care, from that self-attention, from that you being the gift to yourself? How do you get women to not beat themselves up if they start to focus, more on themselves?
It's not easy. It's not easy. And it's a mind shift, right? It's a mind shift and it's a process. And one of the things, my motto is change your perspective, change your life.
Mhm.
So I offer a perspective. You get to decide whether you want to consider it or not. And that is to consider yourself, right? And so, the cup and saucer, I have this because I keep it on the desk, and I remind my clients all the time, self-nurture is what you pour into. Nobody should be pouring into your cup. See, we want our husbands to pour in our cup, our children to pour. No, you have to pour into your cup. And you pour into your cup by just doing simple things. Good morning, treating yourself well, speaking kindly to yourself, hydrating, sleeping, eating, right? But the bottom line is your cup starts to overflow.
Mhm.
And now you serve others from your saucer. That is your abundance. That is your overflow. But people say, oh, that's kind of like my leftovers. No, that is what you have to spare. But we go the opposite, right? We serve everybody from our cup. And then we are the residual that's left in there. So we're stressed. We are overwhelmed. We are overweight. We have hypertension. We have diabetes. All of these things are a result of us not taking care of ourselves. Why? Because we're not selfish. That is not being selfish, taking care of yourself. It means you love yourself. And the more you love yourself, you have so much more to give. And so for a lot of people, that's a shift change because we've seen Big Mama and Lil Mama, go through sacrificing. When people say that person will give you the shirt off of her back, that's a problem because now she don't have a shirt.
Now, okay, now we're gonna have to let's put a pin in that because that
Oh
right
my
there,
goodness,
no.
Nettie. Oh
That-
my goodness.
Nettie
Say
is
that's
letting us have it
sure.
today. I'm loving it.
Saying
If
Big
you
Mama don't have a shirt now.
no, because I'm a Southern girl, right? I'm a Southern girl. I was raised a certain way, and I was raised to believe that I needed to give the shirt off my back, right? That's how I showed that I was a certain type of woman, right? That's how a good Southern girl, right? But you just said something that's very powerful. If I take the shirt off my back to give it to you, what does that leave me with?
Right.
And I get it. We like to say, well, I'm a giver. Okay. But giving that leaves you empty or even more deficient, how is that really helping someone? Because you're going to complain about your deficiency. You're going to complain about your emptiness. So if you're not giving from overflow, right? Then that means you're giving from a place of insufficiency. How is that helping someone else other than making them feel like that they can use you and take from you and that you don't actually matter? And that just feeds sort of that speaking kindly to ourselves.
Yeah. Yes. And that's why it's so important to recognize when you need to set a boundary. And, again, how often have you given something to someone and they'll say, oh, no, you go, no, girl, I got plenty. Go ahead, take it. Because you are giving to yourself. And so, we can't give what we need for ourselves. And so, but what I may be able to do, I can't give you the shirt off my back, but maybe I'm able to share something else with you. And I think that for a lot of us, especially women of color, we have to shift our mindset to, understanding that we operate so much better when we're operating from a space and a place of wholeness and a place of overflow. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about your time. I'm talking about your talent and your resources, right? And so those are the simple things. And so I think many of us grow up feeling like you have to sacrifice for others. And in relationships, couples, people talk about sacrifice. I really think in a marriage, you consider the other person. You don't sacrifice, because that means you're
Oh,
giving up something.
hold that thought. We're gonna talk about that. Sacrifice and consider. You write it down because I want to get right back to that. All right. But I just want everybody to know that this is just a taste of what you're gonna get in the Bahamas. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be up close and personal, right? You're gonna be able to feel
Yes.
the energy of the speakers, right? So Joyce, I want you to just talk a little bit more about the event, about some other speakers that are going to be at the event. And then Nettie, we coming back to that because that right there is powerful. Because I agree with you about the
LaShawn, I
South.
could talk all day. So yeah, feel free to cut me off.
You know, but that is so true. And it's that old airline thing. I tell you, when they say, you know, everyone's been saying, you know, hey, put the mask on yourself first, give the oxygen to yourself first so you can help the other person. If not, you can't help your child or whoever's your elderly parent, whoever's flying with you. And, you know, and I can recall some dating someone who I just felt I was you know, I was considering a lot. And, and I remember he told me, when he saw me doing something for someone else, he said, you know, you got to put the mask on yourself first or whatever. And I thought about that and I ended up breaking up with him. I was like, you know what, you're right. You know, you're right. We have to put the mask on ourselves first and we have to take care of ourselves. And that's why these retreats are so important. You know, I'm starting a little late. I'm going to let everyone do breakfast on their own, do some yoga, you know, wake up on the beach to the sunrise, whatever it is they want to do, because that morning time is so special that I learned this one time when my line sisters asked me to put together a anniversary trip for us. And so I put together this anniversary trip and I had all these things planned, right? And then we started early in the morning till late at night. And all of and they didn't show up. They didn't show up for the breakfast stuff and early things. They're like, Joyce, do you know how often I get to sleep in? They're like, do you know how often? And they're like, never, right? They're like, it's not gonna happen. I'm not meeting you for breakfast. I'm like, well, why didn't you just say that? But I got it, right? Because I'm coachable. And so for this event, you know, I want women to wake up in the morning, you know, and to the ocean. I love the water. I love the ocean. I want them to wake up to the ocean and take it in. If they want to go downstairs, put their toes in the sand. If they want to go to, you know, the morning on the beach prayer, watch the sunrise, whatever that is. But again, be able to spend that special time by themselves, thinking by themselves and getting to really, you know, talk to her, as Nettie say, you know, have that conversation with her.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to have that conversation with yourself, and you have to start to speak kindly with yourself. And this is an opportunity to sort of kind of reconnect on a beautiful island with beautiful blue water, great food, good drink if you like good drink.
Great food, good drink. You know, my publisher is sponsoring our first night, our reception, the Bahama Mama reception. So he's going to come and he's sponsoring that. His wife's going to attend the conference. And so he's going to welcome us to the conference with some Bahama Mama drinks. How often we get to go and have some Bahama Mama drinks and then don't have to worry about driving home.
Exactly. Just mosey on up to your room.
Just mosey on up to your room.
Out on the bed.
Right.
Right. All right. So who are some of the other guests that are going to be there? Because I know that I had another flyer that I know I posted in the Juneteenth Blackout group.
Yes.
What, Kim Gagne? Tell me a little bit about her.
Kim is an Emmy-winning producer. And one of her shows that she did last year that I love, I know she's done some really great things from Steve Harvey and things. And one of the things I really love was the Girlfriends Check-In that she did last year. And it was like, did you watch that? It was a show and it was virtual and they had all these women checking in with they're famous women and things, stars, but they were checking in with their girlfriends and gifting each other things. And they were opening their boxes. But I watched every episode. If you ladies haven't seen that, go and look that up. It's on demand, Girlfriends Check-In. And it reminds me of what we're doing right now, how we're talking and sharing. And that's what we're going to take that virtual and bring it into the personal. And so Kim she was a producer of that show. She did an amazing job. And she's really shy. She doesn't, you know, not at all talk about herself or anything, but she's a really awesome person. She's actually the person that's came up with the Grab Your Girls and Go to the Bahamas theme. She's quick, you know, witted and things. And so a lot of fun, just a really fun person. And then we have another Kim who's going to do our heart notes. I've started doing these heart notes at every thing that I have, because the heart note, what that is just getting us centered, right? It's getting us centered. It's pulling us in to our spiritual self and really talking about some of the things that we need to do for self-care. And Kim Lotz does an amazing job with that. She wrote a book, From Fear to Faith. And she talks about how she had to overcome her fear through her faith. And now she has, she's a daycare owner, but not just a daycare owner, because she's I'm a daycare owner, but she's built a multi-million-dollar business. She's young, she's retired herself in that business. She's given that business now to her children, to her son and her niece to run. And she's going to talk to women also about business building. So she'll do our heart note, but also she's going to talk about business building, and which I think, again, is just something that women need to know. She's going to give tips about some grants that's out there now for the state if people want to start a home daycare and then grow into an entity, but really just the fundamentals of building a business successfully, and how she came about doing that. And then we have to have someone from the Bahamas. So I spent a lot of time there. Simone Bowe is a good friend of mine. She's also HR director for Bahamas Tourism. She's a great speaker. What I really love about Simone is she will break out in a song in a moment, right? I've been with her and she's been speaking, and all of a sudden she just starts singing. And I'm like, whoa. And you guys know how it is. And someone just like, come on, let's keep it. When you're at church and then a preacher starts singing, and you're like, okay, and it just has that other effect to it. That's what you're going to get from Simone. She brings it every time. And then we have some other sponsors going to have some breakout rooms. And a friend of mine, Lisa, who does a lot of personality assessments, she's going to allow the women to take a personality assessment. And it's just not about their personality, LaShawn, but it's about who they are at their core, how they operate, what's important to them. And I've taken the assessment that she gives, and it really gives you time to sit with yourself, because sometimes it shows you her, that the person you abandoned, she's still there, right? Like Nettie says, she's still there. She hasn't gone anywhere. You haven't lost her. She's still there. And that's what's going to come from that assessment. So we're going to have a great time in the Bahamas. And I ask women to make the commitment to yourself. Just say yes. Make the commitment to yourself. I get people call me all day and text me and send me notes on LinkedIn. I'm thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. Do it. Make the commitment to feed into yourself, become the better you, so that you can be the better you for everyone else.
Absolutely. I love that. Make the commitment to yourself. Right now, go over to itsourtime.eventbrite.com. And again, use that promo code RetreatLF01 and get $100 off. That promo code is only good for the month of August. And come on over to, right now I'm listening, and it sounds like you're going to get your inner field so that you can get your outer life field. But it starts with the inner, that interchange. And so it sounds like it's going to be an awesome, awesome lineup. I can't wait. So thank you. I want to get back to
Nettie.
Sacrifice versus.
And Nettie speaking. This is what you guys going to get. Oh my goodness.
And
she's gonna have to hide.
It hasn't even gotten down to the
So that's what I get. I can talk all day long. But this is
the thing though. I want you to, and the reason why I want to go back to that, because I think it's critically important. One of the things that I realized in my own life, okay, this was me, right? I really wouldn't spend much money on clothes. I would never go shopping. Or if I did shop, I would buy something, and this is truth of what I would say in my head. Let's say I bought something I thought was really cute. I would say, well, I have nowhere to wear it. I'm gonna wait until I have some place to wear it. And then what I was finding is it never got worn because that special place never came, right? It was always, well, I'll wait. And even though that seems small, what I realized through getting to know myself was that I was putting everything off in my life. Everything about me that connected to me, it was, well, when the right time comes, when this happens. And I found, now looking back, none of those things that I needed to happen in the future never happened, right? So now if I want to, if I need to do it, I'm gonna do it right now. If I buy something, I'm gonna buy it right now. I might go to my office, nobody see me. right? It'd be just me, myself, and I in my
Right.
office on the computer working, but she be cute,
Yeah.
right? And it's not about outside appearance. I'll tell anybody, right? You can go buy the most expensive clothes, you can go get your makeup done, you can do all the things see outside that body. That's not what changes you, right? You have to change from the inside. And when you change from the inside and you start to connect to who you are, it does have effect on your outside. But you can't start from the outside. I know many of us do, right? That's why a lot of times when we say self-care, people think self-care go run into the spa. And I'm not saying going to the spa isn't a form of self-care, but you got to get to the source of the problem, and that's on the inside of you. Because many of us, as you said, Joyce, we've abandoned ourselves. But when we get in this process, and it's like you start to see your abandoned self that you left on the side of the street by herself, right? With no clothes on, no nourishment. You left her.
She gave a shirt to somebody else.
You gave a shirt to somebody else. Get the shirt back, babe.
Get your shirt back, girl.
Get your shirt back.
It's our time.
Hashtag get your shirt back. We need to hashtag get your shirt
Yeah,
back.
we do.
Hashtag get your shirt back. Wait a minute, and then come to it's your time, it's our time, girl time, and listen to Kim Lotz, how she built a multi-million-dollar daycare so that you can then learn and find out what your passion, your desire, or whatever it is that you want to do, so that you can create your multi-million-dollar empire, right? But you got to first do what? Hashtag what? Get your shirt back. Get your shirt back.
And Kim was a single mom when she did that, and she just knew for herself that she wanted to be present for her children. She didn't want to be working away from home all the time, not be able to attend things, and she just found a way. She started her daycare at home, and then from there she grew. And and she has a program now, I think it's Mom Boss, that she does too.
Wow.
Where she feed into other women, single moms, and be able to help them realize that, like her book says, from fear to faith.
Yeah. Wow. Now, okay. So I want to go back. I hadn't forgotten about this, the sacrifice versus
sacrifice. We cannot leave without it.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. Can't end this without talking about that some more. You said, and I so agree with you, but I'm gonna shut up so I can let you talk about it. In marriages, right? People love to say that you have to make sacrifices for each other. And I think I get why we use that word, but I think that our actual our brain interpretation of that, the way we train, causes us to do something that's not beneficial.
Absolutely.
Well, we're not using a lot of words anymore. So it's a change in thought, right? There's a lot of words that used to be appropriate that no longer are. So we don't use those words anymore. So we got to retrain our thought process.
Absolutely.
And more importantly, we need to use words that speak truth, because words do matter. And our brain does register the words you speak. And so when you say, I am, sacrificing, you're giving up something. And that creates over time resentment. And that's the part that's poisonous. It's toxic in a marriage. Now, if you're going to sacrifice, you sacrifice for your children, because you don't feel that you're giving up anything, right? It is something I'm choosing to put aside for my child. Now, you can sacrifice for a spouse if you want, if you feel that, but you can't do it with this feeling of, I gave this up for you. Now, there are some situations where parents feel that, they sacrifice, and there's some parental child issues. But for the most part, I think what's healthy in a marriage is when you consider the other person. That costs you nothing to consider them. So when I consider my husband in making a decision, when I consider my husband when I say what I say, when I consider him, but when I decide, okay, I'm going to forego this. I want to do this. I don't want, but I'm going to forego this for this. Then that may cause a problem later. And so I'm not,
especially if something doesn't work out.
Absolutely. So, I believe that there is a space and place to sacrifice. You don't sacrifice self. Maybe you sacrifice an opportunity or something else. But loving you can't cost me. But I do believe that you consider. Healthy relationships mean you consider the other person.
Wait a minute, girl, you just said, say that again. You said
Loving
loving
you.
you.
Girl, loving you can't cost me, me. No, no.
Dog it. Put that
Ooh,
on
the Bahamas. Y'all better get over to the
Bahamas,
Bahamas. That's all I'm
Grab
saying.
your
Y'all
girls.
better get to the Bahamas.
Grab your girls. And we're gonna sit down and have the conversation, glass of wine, a Bahama
Yes.
mama.
Bahama mama.
Hey,
Some of that Bahamas rum.
real talk.
Yes.
Loving you can't cost you. I love that.
No, no, LaShawn,
But
can't
see, I
cost
gotta sit with that because I actually think that if we can get ourselves, especially with the, with us as females, if we can get ourselves to that point where we start to have that inner care for ourselves and we show up in that strength that we're not going to let the fact that I love you cost me. I think you'll have stronger, healthier, loving, lasting relationships.
Absolutely.
I actually think the reason why the divorce rate is so high is because people are sacrificing themselves or what it is that they want to do for another person in the name of marriage. But the problem is they don't really want to. And when you don't really want to do it, right? What creeps in, now it's a slow creep. It's a slow creep in, but resentment slowly creeps in. Because if you sacrificed yourself or something you wanted to do for your mate or your spouse, and 6 months from the time you made that sacrifice, whatever you sacrificed, let's say whatever your mate wanted you to do didn't work out, you are going to be, I gave up my career for you. I did this for you, right? Boom, go do it. Baby, please go do it. Don't do that. Go do it. Go do it, right? Because if you sacrifice and that's not really what you want to do, it's not a want to there, and something doesn't work out, you're going to resent me. I'd rather for you to do it, go down that path, and you might come back and say, hey, look, I did do it, but you know what? My family is most important to me. I want to be here, right?
Yeah.
And guess what's going to happen? You're not going to that. The memory of that opportunity is not going to be like, oh my goodness, I missed my opportunity and it's your fault. Right?
No.
You know,
got it.
Let's take some self-accountability too. Let's start there, some personal accountability, right? So when we make these decisions, no matter what those decisions are, it was a decision that we made.
Yep.
You know what? Let me tell you something. I tell women all the time, this statement, you can make it a statement, you can make it two questions. Does this decision, and this decision can be financial, it could be occupational, it could be personal, relational, right? Does this decision honor me, and is it for my greater good? Now, if you can ask yourself that, does it honor me? And this is the deal. Honoring you may be uncomfortable because it may be the decision you don't want to make. But it means I'm honoring me. I have to do this because this honors me and it is for my greater good. So a lot of times when honoring myself means this is I feel good. No, sometimes honoring who you are is uncomfortable.
I feel good. Yeah.
But it is for your greater good. And that is what's important. And if it's for your greater good, you show up better. You show up and everybody around you benefits.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's an excellent question. I'm going to repeat it because I think it's so good. Does this decision, whatever it may be, honor you? And is it for your greater good? Right? If we probably asked that question prior to every decision that we make, we would make better decisions. One of the things that, now I'm not a psychotherapist. I'm not licensed like Nettie, but I do study the brain quite a lot. And one of the things that is learning techniques that you can train yourself that becomes sort of a natural response. And that's about one of the things you can do is asking yourself good questions, right? That can get you out of what I call loop behavior, pattern behavior. It's asking yourself a really good question. And I think this question that Nettie just spoke is a great question. I would call that a brain technique, right? And I'm sure, Nettie may have another proper name for it, but that's something that I would say, this is a brain technique. When you start making decisions, before you make a decision, ask yourself that question. Does it honor me? And is it for my greater good, right? And you go down sort of the rabbit trail of that analysis. And in doing that, you will break or you will interrupt pattern behavior that has you sort of routinely and constantly showing up in the same sort of complaint mode or the same sort of bad relationship. Some of us as females, we will have 5 different relationships that are all the exact same, and they are all end in heartbreak. Or we'll go get 5 different jobs and none of the jobs work out because we don't like our boss. And we never consider what Joy said, self-responsibility, right? Because it's you that's showing up in all of those situations. And it's your brain that's making the decisions in all of those situations, right? And so having that sort of that brain technique, that little trick that you can make it sort of automate in your mind. Does this honor me? And is this for my greater good, right? If I'm in a relationship or a marriage and my spouse is beating my ass every day, is me staying in this house, is this honoring and getting my ass beat? Is this honoring me? Is this for my greater good? I had a lady recently call me. She was had been married. She needs something she needs girl time. She needs this Bahamas trip. She had been married for quite a while, and husband doesn't work. He's emotional, mental, and physically abusive. And we were talking, and I always like, when I'm counseling people, I always like for them to come to their own sort of awareness and awakening through their own words. And she said, so I'm just asking her questions, whatever. And she says, it's like I'm paying to be abused. I'm the one working all the time. I come home, he's either talking crap to me or he's being physical with me, and then I'm waking up and going back to work. And it's like I'm paying him to beat me. And I said, now you're waking up. Now you're now you're seeing, as Joy says, the abandoned girl on the street with no clothes on. Now you're seeing it. You have to say, I can't make you see it. I can tell you, I can guide you, but you have to see it, right? And I think if you could just ask yourself that good question, that is a brain trick. That may be the only brain trick you actually really need, because that will open you to connecting to the truth of you. It doesn't have to always feel good, but you shouldn't be getting your ass beat every night, right? And how is that honoring you? How is that for your greater good, right? So yeah. Oh, I love that question, Dan. I had to just chop on that a little bit. I love that.
Come back, LaShawn. Come back. No.
Okay. Anyway, back to that, because you know what it is? I know my own life, and I know the things that I have had to sort of overcome, that I didn't even know that I had to overcome it, because it seems so standard when all of the other females around me are dealing with the same thing. You kind of think that, oh, it's normal, right? And we've got to create a new normal. Is what I'm about. Is we got to create a new normal, because I want us to understand that we have created what we think is the normal right now, so we can change it. Right. And it starts with energy, coming to conferences like this, listening, speaking, engaging with women who disrupted themselves and went back and connected to their abandoned self and say, hey, look, I want to grow. I want to grow you. I want to feel you. I want to give myself the gift of you. So we're
going to talk about, and to that point, your personal brand, right? Who are you? And then branding, yourself, right? We're going to talk about that some, because we have to, put ourselves out there, and it's uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable sometimes, but, we're even going to talk about, who are you, so to help you, okay, go now and brand yourself, what's your brand, right? How do you see yourself, and how do you want to be seen?
Mhm.
A lot of times people say, you know, how does the world see me? No, how do you see yourself and how do you want to be seen? You know, one of the first assignments I had in college was to write my obituary. And I'm thinking, this woman is crazy. You know, she'll be writing an obituary, you know. And but what I realized after we did it, you know, and she told us, she said, I want you to understand who it is you want to be in this world and what you want to contribute. So as you leave this college, that you're intentional about the things that you do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's how you move from fear to faith.
That's how you move from fear to faith.
That's how you move fear to faith. When you
Good
can,
stuff.
you can do that. I engaged in that same thing. That's so funny you said that, and it really does. It put a spark in you. It's like, okay, wait a minute. What am I afraid of? Right?
But also when you write it out and you write your obituary and I think also, you know, when you look at your accomplishments, right? Because one thing that men do a lot better than women is talk about their accomplishments, right? Especially when you're in the corporate America space, women, and in resumes, we say this all the time in resumes, you write about our responsibilities, right? We don't brag on ourselves, right? We don't brag on ourselves. We don't talk about our wins. We don't talk about the things that we accomplished. And that's why a lot of times the men end up getting the job over us, not because they're not better, but because they bragged on the things they did do. And so sometimes by looking at your obituary and what you think people are going to say and things, you're like, dang, I did that. I'm a bad girl.
Yeah.
Bad girl.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know, it can help you remind yourself of the power within and who you are, what you accomplished in your young life, and that person, she's still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still there. So come find her in the Bahamas.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a group that I'm in that's called the Girls Network, Powerhouse Network. And she had this, her name is Tiffany Power, and she hosts a call every week with a group of women come on the call. And one of the things she ends with is she go around and has everybody to say, what is your win for the week? Right. And I always find that, and you're so right, Joyce, it's so hard for a woman. It's like a win. Ooh, you know, we don't like to talk about, it's almost like we don't even recognize things as wins.
We don't recognize it. I host a clubhouse room every morning from 8 to 8:30. It's on cells. But on Fridays, we celebrate our wins. And because we can be so focused on the end result, I am so result focused, you know, I want that end goal, and I can feel unaccomplished until I get there, right? But what I realized, and when I talked to my college babies about this, what I realized that we have to celebrate the milestones. During my sales process, I always have milestones for my customers, so that we can say, okay, we're moving and we're winning, we're winning in these certain areas as we go. And I'm like, well, why don't I celebrate my milestones? Right? Why don't I celebrate the great things that happened before I get to that end result, right? There's joy in the journey, and we got to take time to experience the joy and recognize it.
Yeah.
And so every Friday morning, hey, you guys watching, y'all in Clubhouse, join me tomorrow morning. We'll celebrate our wins.
Wow.
It's important.
That's important. It's very important. Wow. All righty. Okay, so we're almost to the end of the show. And so I want to give each of you sort of an opportunity. What if you wanted to give the best advice to a woman right now that's going through something that right now feels like, hey, look, I cannot afford to take out the time to come to Bahamas. I cannot afford financially to come to Bahamas. But yet she's getting her nails done, yet she's doing, you know, she's putting money in other areas. So it's not like she really can make the money come together. What would you advise? What would you say, Joyce, to a woman right now who's thinking about coming to the Bahamas, who want to participate, but's afraid that she can't take that time out for herself?
You know, invest in you, and not just invest in you. This isn't about just going and having fun, what have you. We're going to have a whole lot of fun, let's be clear. But it's about investing in you, like I said, upscaling who you are. You owe it to the people around you to be the best you. But you really owe it to yourself, right? And as you know, mothers and aunties and grandmothers, and we have to be our best self. As women, we carry a lot of weight. A lot of people are watching what we do. And we have to make that commitment to ourselves to be our best self. And that's what's going to happen when you come to the Bahamas. We want you to, really hone into who you are, take some time to think, take some time to share, understand, who you are, the power that's in you, because it's still there. She's still there, right?
Mhm.
But you owe it to yourself and you owe it to everyone around you to make that commitment.
Absolutely. And now you shared a tip with me. I want you to share with all who's watching on a way to get to the Bahamas. You shared a tip
Oh,
with me. So let's share.
yes. Yeah, especially if we're in the Houston area, because United for some reason keeps going up on their flights, and they also they cancel them normally during the winter months as well. But to fly into Fort Lauderdale, right? I actually was looking at flights to Fort Lauderdale just a couple of days ago. It was like $158 round trip on United to Fort Lauderdale. So look at flying into Fort Lauderdale or Miami, and then taking Bahamas Air or Silver Airlines, one of the other airlines, over to the island.
Okay.
I think if you're in Atlanta, New York has really reasonable trips to the Bahamas. I like, go figure. New York, I think Atlanta has really reasonable direct flights. But if you can't get a reasonable direct flight and you want to, and you still want to get there, fly into Fort Lauderdale, and then from Fort Lauderdale, go over to the Bahamas.
All right. All right. So there's a way around everything. There's always a couple of ways to skin a cat, or some my grandma.
There's always a couple ways, and and the thing is too, what I like about Fort Lauderdale over Miami, because I love Miami, the airport is just easy to maneuver, right? You get in there, it's a small airport, you go downstairs, you grab your bags, then you have to check back in. You don't have to come check back in into the international flight, but it's easy, to get done. And also check your passports to make sure they are 6 months out from being expired. And if for some reason, if you're in that zone, then go over to the federal building immediately and handle the passport you have. And if you, I think they're still doing their same day service if you have an appointment.
Perfect. Perfect. All righty. Nettie, you filled me, girl.
Yes.
Love it.
I'm happy. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
But no, the self-work is the best work you can do, and so giving yourself permission, the investment of putting yourself first. There is no money that can, there's not an amount of money. So, this is a small investment for you to take time to just love on yourself and get to know yourself. And more importantly, honor her. And so, because I tell you, you wake up every day with her. Where you go, she goes. Yes. You can run, you can hide, but she gonna show up. Hey, girl, hey. So why not get to know her and love on her?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And take a friend, say take a friend. You share the hotel cost with a friend, right? Take a friend. And I love to travel with my college roommate. We were talking today, you're like, oh, we might need to hop over to New Orleans for a minute.
I'm gonna have my BFF and I'm gonna have my BFF and another crew. So yeah, come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and we're staying at the hotel. What's the hotel that we're staying at?
We're gonna be staying at, actually we were gonna stay at the Lancers. We're staying at Margaritaville.
Margaritaville,
yes. And so you have both the best worlds. You have downtown as well as the beach. So right there on the beach, and you can walk into downtown. When I get there, I have a meeting with the Gucci store when I get there in 2 weeks, because I want to talk to them about hosting a reception. They did one for me once before for an event. And so yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Wow. Well, I am excited. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. The Bahamas is one of those places that's been on my bucket list. And so I am just, I'm looking forward to it. But I have to stop. I have to end with a little bit of a funny story. I met Joyce at one of my attorney friends' birthday party. And we were talking, and she was saying she was putting on an event. And I was like, oh, I want to. So we're talking. I was so super excited. But what was funny was when I had gotten to the event, Nettie, who I did not realize it was Nettie at the time, was sitting down at the table, and me and Joyce was at another table. We were talking, and I don't know what Nettie did. Nettie had gotten up, she did a facial change, a facial profile change or something. And I leaned over to Joyce. I said, Joyce, what's her name? And she said, oh, that's Nettie. I thought that was Nettie. And I immediately got up and went over there. And this is the thing, y'all. Okay, so Nettie and I, because I don't usually run into a lot of people that went to college with me, but Nettie and I went to college together because I went to Houston Baptist University, which used to be a small school, not a small school so much now. But Nettie and I used to we went to college together. Husky and
Oh, world. You know, and to add to that, I met Nettie through a friend, right? So we had never met in person. And we get to this party, you know, for the birthday party. And when I first walked in, I see the hair and everything in the face. I'm like, gosh, that looks like Nettie, right? Because we had never met in person. And so then I'm talking to my friend, I was like, is that Nettie? She's like, yeah, girl, that's my cousin. So my line sister is her first cousin. So we all just end up at that same space at night. And I was like, wow.
Wow. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. All right. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed you ladies. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about the event. Again, y'all, you got time. You could put away your points. Joyce have showed you a way to get to the Bahamas in a least expensive way. Don't use United. I don't know what's going on with them. But you can go over to itsourtime.eventbrite.com. Make sure to use the promo code to get $100 off Retreat LF01. I want to see you over there. You know, I am big on supporting Black creatives, Black business, because I think that if we start to support our own, we grow our own, and I don't think that there's a limitation as to what we can create and who we can become. And so I'm just glad to have these ladies on to talk about the event, and I'm looking forward to October 20th through the 23rd, Paradise, Bahamas. Go ahead and start making your plans and buy your plane tickets and hotel information, all of that stuff. They'll get Joyce when they buy the
when they
ticket.
Register, we're sending a link out. We'll
Okay.
send a link out after registration. Yes. So don't do
Okay,
that.
perfect.
And you know,
Perfect.
and it's going to be a great time, ladies. So like I said, grab a friend, double your fun. You know,
Yeah.
my college roommate and I, we were on the phone today, like, where can we go? But I'll be there myself in a couple of weeks. So I'll be there, and I'm going to be going to talk to vendors and different people just to put those little finishing touches on things, right? Our welcome reception is going to be on the rooftop. And, you know, so I like for everyone to just, when you leave me, you feel loved. Whenever I always put special touches on the events that I do. And so I'm going to, as many things as we can have to just pamper you and make you feel special. We're going to do just that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, we're looking forward to it. Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you, LaShawn.
Night. Thank you. Again, I always like to end with Grand Rising. Ashe to your day. Grand evening, Grand Rising. Ashe to your day. Thank you so much. Y'all take care.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.